What's up, everybody? Anthony Alfredo here on iRacing. I wanted to address this new pit lane. What's going on here? I kind of tweeted about it, and it seemed to blow up. Pit lane entry, the commitment line, which is also the speed line, is now on the apron heading into turn 3, so you're going to have to get down on the backstretch and start checking up to make pit road. So obviously on iRacing, the line is still at the entry of pit road off of turn 4. Now it's right about here, just before those 3 cones that are in the catch fence. So we're going to make a mock green flag stop here and just see what it's like. Pit road speed's 45 miles per hour, and obviously as a single car, I'm only going about 170, but you'll be going much faster than that in the pack, which also means that if you do pit under green, you're going to be multiple laps down for sure. It's just too great a distance at such a slow speed, such a big variation in speed from the field to a single car pitting. And if you do get a penalty, it's going to be detrimental. It's going to be horrible because, as you can see, we're checking up, third gear, second gear, still going 50. This is 45 miles per hour. It feels like we're driving to the grocery store down here, and you have to carry the speed all the way around. This is the outer edge of what the new pit lane is. You can't get up on that transition. The line's right here. You're going to follow that because if you're all the way down here, you're probably going to get called for speeding. So you got to make this radius as wide as possible by being out here, just like at Martinsville or Phoenix, Bristol, even any of the tracks with a curve in the pit lane. But I feel like by now we'd already be almost a lap down, if not 1 lap down. And I'm sure after your pit stop, when you blend back onto the track, you'll be at least 2 laps down, maybe 2.5. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't tried with other cars. That'd be a more accurate experiment to check out. I've kind of timed it out mathematically based off last year's race in real life. But we're going to come to our pit stop here, sit here. Keep in mind, if we got a penalty for either speeding or something happening in the box during this stop, you would be totally screwed, for lack of a better phrase, because you're going to be another 2 or 2.5 laps down. So you could see someone become 4 or 5 laps down just for pitting. You've never seen that before anywhere else. You would be on pit cycle with everyone else if you came to a green flag stop, but if you got a penalty, you go 1 lap down. Well, this is just going to be a disaster, so you cannot afford to have that mistake. I don't think we're going to see anyone short pit for sure because the risk of a caution coming out is just too great. You would lose way too much. I think everyone's going to run to the end of their fuel window, and if anything, you're going to want to be the last one to come to pit road, because if you can stay out on a super speedway style track like this, you probably need some cars to pit with, unless you could blend back up in traffic and not lose the draft, depending on how spread out the field is, and if there's a second or third separation in the pack. But it's going to be crazy because if you do stay out, a caution comes out, you could trap everyone 2 laps down or even more. I don't even know what to expect. The racing could be quite interesting from that. Usually it's chaotic enough we don't see a green flag stop, at least in the Xfinity race, because you only need 1 caution to make it in the final stage. The Cup Series race, you never really know what you're going to get. I think there were some unscheduled stops last year, but they moved that line for safety reasons, and it actually does make sense because if you did see a big green flag stop, it's not like Daytona or Talladega where you have the entire coming up to the trial to peel off of the racing surface, then get on the brakes. Here, you're actually going to be checking up on the racing surface in front of the pack if you are running towards the front of the field. And that's just too dangerous. It's going to cause calamity and a huge crash. So I understand where they put it, but it's just going to be really interesting to see the way it plays out, at least at a Martinsville or somewhere like that where you come into pit road early into turn 3. The speeds are a lot slower and it's not as detrimental. This is just going to be really crazy to look at if it were to happen. Like I said, even if you did stay out at most tracks, if you stayed out, you inherit the lead, everyone pit. Well, you come down to pit for fuel and tires, and everyone else stays out and takes the wave around to get back on the lead lap. Here, you could potentially trap them 2 or more laps down, which would mean even if they waved around, you can, when you pit, you would put your tires and fuel on and still be a lap ahead of them. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm sciencing out way too much, but I just wanted to know everyone else's thoughts on this because I thought it was quite interesting and I figured I'd express those, especially after seeing all of the engagements on social media, I'll say. It seemed to spark a lot of interest from the fans and the drivers, people in the industry. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Either way, it's going to be an exciting race for the fans and intense for the drivers. Much cooler weather, so should see some great racing. When it was hotter and slicker, is not quite as good, just because it's a lot more handling dependent. So we'll see what happens. We're going to make one OG green flag stop just for old time's sake right here, but you could imagine how bad this would be if you had to do that in the front of the pack. So there you go, Atlanta Motor Speedway, updated pit road entry. Not yet on iRacing, but that's what we're going to have in real life. So maybe they'll paint a line there, put the cone there, and put it on the sim as well. That'd be quite crazy. I'm sure the community would be, there'd be a lot of comments about that in itself, let alone ahead of the races this weekend. So excited to hear what you guys think about it. Those are my thoughts. Hope to see you all at the track. If not, hope you're watching on TV, and I'll catch you in another one. Bye.